Welcome back to Top Dogs from Woodstock, Ontario, as we continue with the Extreme Retriever Challenge here. And that's Tika, our leader. Tika has been just shy of perfect so far, missing only 2 points in skill number 2. They launch the birds. Again, just a reminder, 2 in water, 1 on land. And our competitors will have to retrieve the land bird second. Tika with a good job here picking up that first one. A 5-minute time limit. And Tika's a little bit older, Bob. Now, is that going to be a factor? I mean, Tika's 7, certainly not.
No, I've seen dogs up to 10, 11 years old do this. The age has no bearing on it. They love to do the work. Sean's having a little trouble lining up. I think she might have missed that mark.
Sean Grills, the handler, trying to give his dog Tika the line here. And Tika's going to the water bird. Hasn't picked up the bird on land. So Sean's in tough here. Now, Bob, in a situation like this, you've come across this before. What does the handler have to do to try to give the dog the line or keep the dog on line when the dog doesn't know where it's going?
Well, you stop with whistles and you handle the dog with back casts and overcasts. But this dog is a little confused here. I don't think he saw that mark, and he's just not sure where he's going. I'll tell you, if you want to learn to be humble, Al, you take up golf or train dogs. And he's on the line now. This is going to cost Sean. It's too bad he was real clean.
Tika obviously doesn't trust Sean's line, and again heads towards that third bird in the water. Tika's picked up the wrong bird here now, Bob. And have you ever been in a situation like Sean Grills finds himself in now?
Many times, Al, many times. I've been dropped in competition more times than a football on a Sunday afternoon. These dogs are athletes, and like any good athlete, they have bad days and good days. It's too bad he was running real clean.
And that gun means that, unfortunately, Tika has run out of time, and this is going to be awfully damaging to Tika. 46 points here in skill number 3, and that drops Tika well down here, and I think almost no chance to win this thing now. A total of 244 after 3 skills. Max is up next. Max is the 5-year-old lab, I believe. Handled by Dwayne Cook from Kitchener, Ontario. Dwayne told us a little bit earlier that Max gets pretty excited out here doing trials like this. But you can see there's a lot of concentration here from this dog as he gets set to retrieve these 3 birds. Big leap into the water, eagerly swimming now towards that first mark.
You can tell how that dog loves the game, and so does the handler. The name of the game here is just have a good time with you. These are all amateur handlers here with these dogs, and they're going to make mistakes. There's no pro-trained dogs allowed in this competition, so this is just the real McCoy we're getting here.
Plenty of enthusiasm here. Max, a very strong swimmer. Dwayne calling Max off of that decoy. And Max has lost the line here temporarily. Dwayne casting out to the left, trying to bring Max to the left and upland. And here we go. Max has got the scent now, just has to find the bird.
You notice how that dog takes every whistle and every cast. This should be a pretty clean run if he can find the bird. He's got it now. This will be a good run.
Max bounding back into the water and bringing home bird number 2. And the last of the 3 birds seems to have been the easiest to find for our athletes so far. Dwayne Cook sends Max out. And there's still plenty of energy left in Max here. Good clean return.
He's under the clock. That's the important thing.
This was a very quick run, Bob.
That was a great run, Al, a great run.
Max back at the boat. Dwayne's going to be pleased with this. An excellent finish here, and Max picks up a perfect score of 100 points in skill number 3. Bob, let's go back and take a look at Dwayne working Max in the water.
Well, he did a great job here. The dog is a little confused. He gives him a left-handed back cast. The dog took it real clean. This is going to be a good run for Dwayne.
100 points for Max, so Max is at 291 now. The question is, can Amber do enough in skills 3 and 4 to win it? We'll find out when Top Dogs continues. The Extreme Retrieving Challenge continues here on Top Dogs. I'm Al Stafford with analyst Bob Clark, and Amber is our last competitor in skill number 3. And we have a new leader after that run there by Max just prior to the break. Max with 291 points so far.
That was a great water entry, Al, for a short-haired dog. That's as good as any lab you'll see.
Amber keeping the nose close to the edge of the water there. Bit of a different swimming style than we saw out of the labs. The labs tend to hold their heads a little bit higher, but this doesn't seem to be affecting Amber's ability to retrieve. The first bird is back into the boat. Nice job. Again, our competitors dealing with 100 points possible in each skill, and then points are deducted based on what they do or don't do with each retrieve.
This landmark seems to be giving the dogs a bit of trouble here, Al.
It's a lot for the dogs to concentrate on, having 3 separate marks drop before they go out to get the first one.
And they've kind of forgotten about this bird because it was thrown second. That's a long swim across that pond.
Barry Page has Amber on a pretty good line now, and just as I say that, Amber turns around and waits for further instructions.
Here, Zuck.
Can hear Barry working Amber in the background, right near the edge of the pond now. And of course, a 5-minute time limit, and the more time spent in the water, the less time Amber has, of course, to pick up the second mark on land and then get that third mark. Timer keeping a close eye on the clock.
Al, this dog's had several whistle and cast refusals, and this may cost him some points. And at this stage of the game, when the dog is this close, it's going to be very important.
Amber's close. You can see the mark there, just behind that fence. And there we go.
The dog was hidden underneath the decoy there.
Some applause here from the crowd as Amber makes that long swim back across the pond to the boat. Put retrieve number 2 in the books.
Yeah. Come on.
Now, in terms of point deductions, Bob, is it 2 points each time the dog refuses a cast and that sort of thing?
2 points for a whistle refusal, Al, and 2 points for a cast refusal.
Here.
So he had several there. I don't know how the judges are going to call that, but he just made a nice recovery here.
Amber.
Strong send-off there for Amber by Barry Page at the boat. Amber doesn't seem to have a line on this duck, though. Eyes frantically scanning the surface of the water, looking for the target.
Those ducks lie low in the water, too, so sometimes these dogs, they're a little hard to see if there's any wake on the water.
We've been blessed with pretty good conditions here today. There's not much in terms of wake on the water, fortunately. And there it is, right there at the edge of the pond.
I shouldn't do that.
Timekeeper looking at that clock. That gun's going to go off soon.
Come.
Get in there, Amber, baby.
Barry trying desperately to get Amber back to the boat, knowing the time is close.
Whoa.
Oh, and just at the gun, the bird ends up in the boat. They'll give Amber that retrieve. 86 points for Amber, and a total so far of 257. Wow, and Barry breathing a sigh of relief there. Well, let's check the leaderboard. Max is our leader with 291 right now. You can see Tika has dropped right down into 4th place because of what happened here in skill number 3. And our second place dog is just 11 points out of the lead. So we get to skill number 4. This is a single mark, double blind. Tika will be our first competitor. We've got a poison diversion here, Bob.
There's lots of stuff going on here, Al. This is a real rodeo we got here. What we got going here, Al, is we got a couple of marks. We've got a blind. We've got a poison bird. This poison bird almost lands on the dog's head. Matter of fact, with a good bounce, I'm sure some of these dogs could catch it. For a dog to be steady to a bird landing this close to him is a real good training. Now watch Tika here, how steady this dog is.
Now there's a total of 4 retrieves here, but the dog is only going to be able to see the 1 mark. So this is going to be an excellent test between dog and handler. Here's the first send out now for Tika. And along the way, we've got that poison bird diversion. There's the first retrieve by Tika.
That was a nice clean retrieve, Al. Amongst the decoys over the fence.
And a little bit later on, they'll drop a bird right near each dog as they complete the second retrieve. And that's actually the bird that'll have to be retrieved last, so it gets a little confusing for the dog, and that's the object of the exercise. Plus, they've got to do all of this in a time of 4 minutes or less in order to get the maximum number of points.
This is the blind. The dog does not know where this bird. He's got to be handled over there by Sean. Took a good cast there.
As we showed you earlier, the birds, of course, are scented, which helps somewhat, but each handler has to move their dog towards the target, first of all. And it looks like Tika's now got the scent for this second bird. Perhaps not. Looked like Tika was running with a purpose there. There we go. Hidden underneath the brush. And Tika burrows through underneath that pine and brings back bird number 2.
Here comes the diversion bird. I'll watch this. Boof.
And Tika doesn't even flinch. Finishes that second retrieve. Nice job. You can see the judge there with the scorebook and the timer sitting on the back of that truck. Now the third retrieve is actually in water, and Sean Grills is trying to keep Tika away from the bird that just dropped down in front. This is going to be tricky, and the more time they spend back here at the start, tougher it's going to be to complete on time. Sean giving Tika the line, and Tika moves away. Tika doesn't want to go into the water just yet. There we go.
That was another good cast. You notice how these dogs are taught to swim by the decoys, not even bother with them.
Unfortunately, they timed out there. They didn't get it done within 4 minutes, so Tika finishes with just 47 points. I think Sean Grills will be a little bit disappointed with that. While we still have 3 more dogs to go here in the finals. Amber and Cruiser will be next when Top Dogs continues. Well, we are getting close to declaring our top dog here in Woodstock, Ontario, as we continue with the Extreme Retriever Challenge. And Amber is our next competitor. Handled by Barry Page. Amber, the 3-year-old German short-hair pointer. And just to remind you again, 4 retrieves in all in a time of 4 minutes. So you don't have much time to play around here.
That's not an easy task, Al, getting a dog to be steady like that when their guns are going off and the birds are flying around. That's real good training. It shows real good control. That was a nice clean mark. Out and in quick.
Quick will be important here. Good retrieve there for Amber, the first one. Now the second one is the blind retrieve. And this will be more difficult. See if we can get this duo working in unison. Amber relying now on the whistle and the commands of the handler. And the scent of that duck. Looks like Amber's gone too far, down to the water's edge. Barry Page having to call Amber back, and they're losing time here. Now there's the retrieve. Nice pickup.
There's the diversion bird. The dog just goes right by that like it wasn't even there.
And here's the tricky part, getting Amber into the water and past that poison bird, the diversion. Slow entry.
This dog's a pretty fast swimmer, but she's got to make up a lot of time here. This is that wounded bird deal with a fishing line. See, they're pulling the line. That bird sits pretty low in the water, Al. It's kind of hard for that dog to see it. Oh, she's on it now.
Amber had to lift her head there. And there's the retrieve. That's number 3. And unfortunately, you can hear the gun in the background. They won't get the 4th retrieve in. So Amber finishes with a score of 46 points and has a total of 303 here for the 4 skills. Good, certainly not great, but I think Barry Page will be pretty pleased with how Amber handled things.
Well, these are the top 4 dogs, Al. Any one of these guys go back again tomorrow and win this thing. So to be in the top 4 is a great accomplishment.
Cruiser is up next. Cruiser, the yellow lab. And Cruiser has run perfect in 2 out of the 3 skills so far today.
Look how steady and how focused this dog is.
Duck calls and birds and gunshots everywhere. And yet Cruiser holds firm. And there's the first send out. This is, of course, the easiest of the 4 retrieves, and no trouble at all for Cruiser there. Heading back to Lola Jones of Brantford, Ontario.
I don't think Lola's missed a duck all day. She's a real deadly shot, Al.
Lola trying to get Cruiser in position now to take the right line for this blind retrieve. Under the fence, around the trees. And like our first 2 competitors, Cruiser down by the water. And there it is, got the scent, but had to find it there in the bush. That's probably the fastest for that first blind retrieve that we've seen, Bob, of the 3.
That was a good blind. There's the poison bird all sat in the fence there.
Cruiser knows where that one is, but immediately turns off at there. Good job by Lola sending Cruiser into the water. And a good job so far in terms of time.
A good stop on the whistle. Takes a good cast. This dog could have a real clean run here if she keeps this pace up. Here comes the fisherman.
They're going to make Cruiser work a little harder for this one. A long swim back across the pond, and then if there's time, that last duck, the diversion bird. We haven't seen any one of our 4 finalists so far come through and get all 4 retrieves here in this 4th skill. But Cruiser's the first we've seen to get 3.
She knows where that bird is.
Lola taking her time. And there it is, all 4 retrieves for Cruiser. A nice effort, and again 100 points, so Cruiser has 380. But Max has 291, and a clean run would give Max the title. We'll see how this shakes out when Top Dogs continues. Welcome back to Top Dogs from Woodstock, Ontario, as we wrap up the Extreme Retriever Challenge. And we've had a great battle today between Cruiser and this dog, our last competitor, Max. Max has 291 points coming in, and a perfect run would give Max the title. The score to beat is 380, so there is margin for error, but it's small.
Max is just barking up his door. Bring it on, baby. He said, I'm going for the gold here.
Max will have to retrieve all 4 of these birds and have to do it with a minimal amount of penalties. Any bird missed would give the title to Cruiser. And there's the first retrieve. No problem for any of our 4 competitors, in fact, and certainly not for Max. The blind retrieve is next. And this is the one that a lot of our competitors have had trouble with. Max breaking towards the water. And Dwayne Cook doing a good job calling Max off.
It's going to be a small penalty there for their whistle refusal. We hope that doesn't hurt him down the road.
Max has got the scent and the bird.
Right on.
So that's retrieve number 2. Now look out for the diversion. But Max goes back to Dwayne and leaves the diversion bird alone. That's a sign of good training. Dwayne lining up Max for the water retrieve. And really taking his time, Bob. That was painstaking just to give Max the right line.
That's right. Well, Dwayne and Max, they like this game. You can tell that. They're having fun. Win or lose, they've had a great day. All the handlers have had a good day. To get to the top 4, like I say, is not an easy task. So he's got that one. He's pretty clean except for that whistle refusal. How's the clock look on him, Al?
So far, Max is within the time limit. Again, it's 4 minutes here to complete this course, and Max has got 3 retrieves now once this bird comes back to Dwayne Cook. And all that's left is that diversion bird. This is a short retrieve. Quick send out, quick come back, and let's check the point total. 98 points, and there it is. There's our winner. Max has done it with a point total of 389. Dwayne Cook looking very pleased. Nice effort here from this duo from Kitchener, Ontario. Taking today's Extreme Retriever Challenge. Max with 389, 9 points better than Cruiser. Amber finishing 3rd, and Tika rounds out the top 4.
Once we got to the line, things went fairly well. It's just that interlude between the breaks that he gets very excited. And but once the work starts, well, he starts to settle down and usually does a good job. He did a very good job today.
And the crowd looking on in appreciation here as we take one last look at our top dog.